Hello learners, welcome to TryWrite. Today we will be learning about methods and overloading. So basically what are methods? Methods, they are a block of code that performs specific tasks. For performing every task we have a block of code and so method help us in performing this task. Now it helps us in it help the code reusability and modularity. Means the programs can be reusable. Programs can be formed using reusable and they can have different modules also which we can use or provide according to our own need the modules of those programs. And now methods, they have a return type. The syntax for the methods, they have a return type and the method name. Here we know that methods can have return type and methods, they have a name, and so the parameter list also follows, and we can have the different operations being performed on methods which can be followed due to the parameters that are passed to them. Now here comes the body of the methods which will be represented within the curly braces for performing different operations. Now moving to void greet. Void greet. Here this is a method which is having a void return type, which is having a return type void, and greet. This is the name of the method greet. Here it will be performing the system.out.println and hello welcome. This is the main body of the method. This method could be performing hello welcome. This will be the things that will be presented if we call this method. Now there are different types of methods in Java. Coming on to different types, we have no return. They won't return any kind of methods or any kind of values, and we do not have to pass any parameters to them. Like here we have the show method which will be just having this will be just having showing something which where we don't have to pass any parameters, and it does not have return type. The no return types means it is having a word return type. No return type means it is having word return type. No return with no return types and with parameters. This void greet means no return type means void, and the greet string name which will be passing through the parameters, that is a string name. Yeah. Now coming further, which we have with return type, there will be return type and with parameter also, and there is a parameter here int is the return type of this method add, and we are passing the parameters as int a and int b. We are passing two parameters which will be adding or performing any operations on these parameters. Now calling a method. For calling a method there is a class calculator. Now in this class calculator we have a method int is the return type and add is the name of that method. int add int add and following that int b is the parameter here. Now on the returning these values, on returning the addition of these values, integer value a and b, we are finally adding these values, and we are returning this value, this integer value which will be added. They will be turning into integer part only, because when two integers are added they will be finally having an integer value only, and when we pass this integer value the return type can be int. So on passing these values, returning these values, some addition of this a and b will we can pass integer value, and so int the addition of all the values will be returned. Similarly we can have a display sum. We have to display sum which is a method name of that method name, display sum. Yeah. And this is the void. It won't return any kind of, it won't be returning any kind of value. Now this is unparameterized constructor. Now int result equals int result. We are passing these values and filing storing them in the value result. We are passing these values and storing them in the value result. Int is the data type of this result variable. And when we are adding this value 1020, when we are adding this value 1020, we are passing these values to int result. And when we are printing, and suppose if you want to print this value here only, sum is the message plus the result. This sum is the message plus the result. So from this main method when we will perform these operations on the basis of main method only, which will be the calling this method and using this method there only. For that calculator, for this we will calling this calculator class. and the name of this object of this class is calc, having the new keyword and calculator. This is the name of the class. And suppose we have to call this method, so we will calling this object dot method name. Object is the calc dot sum display sum. This is the method name, which will finally displaying the file, which will be finally displaying the sum of the results, which will be having this as it is having the system dot out dot println printing line also, sum plus the result. Yeah. Now moving on to method parameters with the return value, method parameters and return values. For this we have example here with parameters and no parameters. With parameters we have to perform method parameters and return values, which we can perform with the parameters and no parameters. Void print name. Suppose you are having a print name as the method name, which will have the parameters as string name. We will be passing the name parameter here, and finally we will be printing the name. Hello plus hello is the message plus the name, which will be passing here, and that will be performed according to with the hello plus the name. And with the other is with parameters and return type. Yeah, int x is the parameter, and int is the return type of this method. So int x is the parameter, and on return is returning the value x into x. This value can return integer value, this value x into x, which will be the value that will be returned with the help of integer integer data type. Yeah. And now method overloading. So what is overloading? Some methods name same method overloading, we state to the methods having the same name, but they occur in different parameters. They will have different parameters. Now compile time they will be called during compile time polymorphism. When we'll be compiling the program, which the particular program will be executed according to that method name, having the specified parameters. Now coming on to rules, different number of parameters. Now rules for the this default parameters, there should be different number of parameters, which different parameters or different different data types of parameter. Suppose there can be different data types of parameters, so the particular method will be called according to the different difference in the types. Suppose we have a class display. Here we have a void show. This is the method. Void show method. This is the unparameterized method. And here we will be printing the no parameter. There will be no parameter as there is no it is unparameterized. And now there is other show method also. Show constructor also. Show constructor. It has parameter string name. Now here we will be printing system.out.println name plus the name, which will be passed here parameter according to the parameters in the parameters of this constructor and this name. This is the unparameterized constructor, and here it is a parameterized constructor. And now void show having different parameters, having two different parameters as string name and int age. Now system.out.println, here we will be printing the name and age also. Both the things will be printed here because we are passing two parameters here, and it will not be returning any value because it has void as the return type. And for our base uses, we can have we have to call this method with the help of a class, with the help of object, which is performed, which we can make with the help of the class display name. The class display is the class name. So class name and following the object name equals new is the data type, and for new is the data type for creating different amount of objects, new plus display class name. Yeah. So calling the object name dot the method name, and similarly we can pass the parameters. This one is unparameterized constructor, so we won't be passing any parameters. This one is parameterized constructor, so we will be passing Alice as the parameter for this. And similarly Bob and 25, this is also parameterized constructor. So why we use this overloading? It helps us in improving the readability. Programs can be readable very in a useful way. It can improve the readability. It reduces using method naming confusion. This overloading, it will help us in reducing the confusion because different methods have different names by which we can call them. So it will definitely increase the confusion between calling names because different parameterized constructor, when having different parameters, they will be called. They can be bifurcated into difference in the form and number of parameters. Now, numbers and data type of the parameters also. Now it allows a flexibility in method uses. This will allow flexibility in method uses for because we have different methods with different parameters having different data types. So we can perform all these operations very flexibly here. Now thanks. We will moving on to the next topic in the next class.